Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Brad Lee is dropping
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, kids, I have a real treat for you. Larry K. Benet. What's cracking, Larry?
I'm so excited to finally be on Dropping Bombs after all these years of knowing you. This is exciting.
Well, you're very welcome. It's nice knowing me, isn't it?
It is.
No, just joking. Folks, for you guys that may not know who Larry is, see, Larry's a guy that nobody really knows, but everybody knows. Like, I don't see you on social media huge, right? You're not all over it. And you can find him. Where do they find you on Instagram?
They can just go Larry K. Benet, B-E-N-E-T. Larry
K. Benet, B-E-N-E-T. But he's a connector, which is, again, that's what I mean. Like, you don't really, it's almost like you know a lot of people. You know everybody, it seems.
Well, you know, we were talking earlier in your office about, one relationship away or one connection away. And, I think really, over the years, right before we came in here, I reconnected with Stephen Pierce, who I started saying with. And over the years, everyone from Tony Robbins to, Tony Shea, the founder of Zappos, to Peter Guber, the owner of the Golden State Warrior, you were part of Sang, and Paula Abdul and a lot of other interesting people, a lot of great thought leaders and entrepreneurs. But it was all one relationship at a time, adding value to those people along the way. And that's what I think it comes down to. Because like you said, it's relationships that pay, but in order to get there, I think you got to give first. You got to serve other people, got to add value first. I think that's the key.
Before you ask.
Yeah, I think too many people ask first, and they ask for big things. When you might be at an event, and someone who's a complete stranger might come up to you, and they want to get on your podcast. Well, what have they done for you? You got to add some value. You got to create some relationship capital, add some connection currency along the way.
Mm-hmm. So when you started out, you didn't know you were going to be a connector. But that's what you call yourself, a connector.
Yeah, but I think back to like the late 1990s. I was in the technology industry and I was in sales. And I started to volunteer for the Southeastern Software Association. So at the beginning, I was just a volunteer. Eventually, I became the president of the Southeastern Software Association. But when I was just in the sales role for a company called the Gartner Group, which is a multi-billion-dollar tech play,
the old Gartner Magic Quadrant.
Exactly. There you go. But what's interesting is I was connecting with a lot of high-powered CEOs, entrepreneurs, C-suite executives. Yep. And I was always trying, I didn't realize it at the time, but if they needed someone for sales or whatever it was, I was like, hey, here, let me introduce you to someone. Or if the one CEO's company was failing or having some setbacks, I'm like, hey, let me introduce you to another CEO. They're kicking booty. Oh, did you need some?
No, I was going to just tell them to bring me the old penaroo because I got to take notes.
Here, let me give you the pen. Here.
What if you need to take notes? I got a note. So
anyway,
let's go back to Gartner. You used to work for Gartner.
I did. But you go talking about the connecting. So at the end of the day, I became such a valuable resource to a lot of these executives. So I would introduce one CEO to another CEO over lunch, and that one CEO might join the other guy's board or give him advice on how to turn around the company. Yet even though I was a sales guy, I was creating scoring a lot of relationships, valuable relationships, but I was constantly being of service. And being a resource. And I became one of the top sales guys worldwide for the company. But I had more C-level access than my peers combined. And looking back at it now, knowing what I was doing, that's exactly what it was. Connecting dots and adding value.
What would be the key steps to adding value?
Well, first of all, I think you got to make an authentic connection, number one.
Define that?
I think a lot of people meet people, but it's, it might be a business card exchange here and there. To me, I want to get to know someone. I want to, what are they about? I know you really care about, your kids, and you're a big family man. I know you want to sell your business one day. And, there's certain things that, so anyway, you want to make an authentic.
Who doesn't want to sell their business one day?
I think everyone probably does.
I mean, but I was always thinking, when people say, what's your exit strategy? I never had one, and I still don't. But if someone said, do you want to sell your business one day? Well, yeah. Or just give it to somebody and walk away. Like, that'd be even better, because that means I made billions of cash and cash flow. I don't need to sell the business. I just, I got enough. Let me pass it on. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be good. I like that.
So
anyway, you want to make an authentic connection. And then I think the next part in terms of connecting with someone is finding out what's most important to someone. And then once you found out what's important to someone, can you help them get it? And so a lot of times when I am meeting with someone very early on, I will ask them, what's the most important project? I mean, this is like $1 million question. I mean, it is work with from homeless people to billionaires, allowed me to connect inside of 30 seconds. Richard Branson gave me his private email in 30 seconds. Bill Clinton, President Clinton, gave me his contact information in under about 45 seconds. Larry King invited me to breakfast in under about a minute. And it's all because of, connecting, helping someone get what's important to them. But after you've been able to do that, then the next point is being a VC, being a value creator. And then last but not least, you might be able to make a great first impression. You might be able to add value to someone, but people have short-term memories, unfortunately. So then you got to be really good at the art of following up, staying in touch. And I'm a big believer in staying in touch and adding value along the way. So that's my little 5-part formula, so to speak, on how to connect with anyone.
Do you have a course or something?
I don't have an active course right this second, but we have had.
Now we're about to launch this whole relationships that pay thing.
Yeah.
What you need to have is a course, at least on that.
Yeah.
So I would invite you, go ahead and write some words down on, man, if you were going to teach somebody how to master the art of relationships, what would that look like? Because that would be part of it.
Absolutely.
And, I see you got some notes there or something.
Yeah, I did. There were certain things I wanted to kind of share that I believe
but that means you've got the makings for a freaking course.
Absolutely.
And people would pay Larry K. Benet, Big Monet.
That's right, for one connection away.
Because you're one connection away. But at the end of the day, relationships are the new economy. I keep saying that. If you ever hear that, that's mine. People are like, well, they're trying to change it. It's like, no, I made that up. Relationships, new economy. What does that mean? I mean, what's an economy? Commerce, trade, things are happening. Dude, relationships is the new economy, meaning the person that knows everybody and everybody likes that person and they're very well connected, they're going to have an easier time in life. Would you agree?
100%.
So why not learn how to find, attract, nurture, and leverage these relationships? People say to me, how do I get next to influential people? And I say, you become one.
It's a lot easier when you are influential to get next to those kind of people, because people want to be around their peers and colleagues.
Yeah. But my point is, so how do you become one? Because when I give people real shit to talk about, it's like, how do you hang around influential people? I think, how did I do it? Well, I became one. Well, how do you become one? See, there's the real question, is what people want to know. So it's not how do you build a relationship, it's how do you become influential? And guess what? That boils down to the relationship still, but it's the one you have with yourself. See, most people can't become influential because they're too worried about what other people are doing and what other people are thinking.
True. It is true.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, worry about the relationship with yourself, numero uno. Start there, because if your relationship with yourself sucks, dude, your relationship with others are going to suck. Now there, my friend, is a bomb. And you said, do we have to wear those? No, but if you had the headphones on, we'd hear the bombs.
Oh, damn. No, that was a good point. Very true.
Well, it's true. So let's go back to Gartner for a minute, because you said you worked there.
Yeah.
Now,
but let me give you a quick example from that time period. And I was just a sales guy.
Okay.
One of my clients had a multi-billion-dollar company. It was a tech company. He was a rock star CEO. There was a company at that time called MindSpring, which sold to Earthlink, which was one of the early, ISPs. He also was one of the rock star CEOs in town. Anyway, make a long story short, over one of the meetings with a gentleman named Tom Noonan, he eventually sold his company to IBM for a couple $1 billion. I knew he played tennis. He told me he had a tennis.
That deserves a bomb by itself.
There you go. But what's interesting is he mentioned he had a tennis court at his house. I'm like, hey, let's go play tennis sometime. He goes, great. And then I said, hey, do you mind if we play some doubles and I'll invite one or two other, CEOs in town? Would that be okay with you? And that gave me entree to reach out to two other superstars in the Atlanta tech community. And that was one of the coolest things I'd ever done. And again, I was just in sales, and I probably had well over $1 billion or $2 billion of net worth on the court that day, just with those guys. But I was the facilitator. I was the connector. It wasn't my tennis court. And it was super cool. And, I think anyone could do those type of things. Got to be a resource,
And should.
Yeah, they absolutely should.
So let's go back to Gartner.
Yep.
You worked at Gartner.
Yep.
Now, Gartner tried to get a hold of me one time and their whole spiel. Was that what you did? Try to sell people on Gartner?
Well, basically, I was selling to the tech companies, advisory.
For Gartner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
see, so they called me. I wanted to be on the Magic Quadrant.
Okay. Oh, for like a learning technology.
Yeah, because, companies, they believe in this Gartner.
That would actually help you if you're going after those mega companies. Yeah.
Hell yeah. But the point is like these big companies, they believe in Gartner.
They do.
But,
big time.
But I didn't want to pay them. Like, it was a ridiculous amount of money to
believe it or not, you do not have to pay them to be on the Magic Quadrant.
I know this, but they wanted me to pay them to do whatever they do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll pay you, but I need on that Magic Quadrant. And they said, well, you can't pay to be on the Magic Quadrant.
Yeah.
Okay, well then the Magic Quadrant is bullshit. Okay, that's all I'm telling people. Because when my fucking name ain't on that Magic Quadrant, well then it's not really a Magic Quadrant, is it? It's a Magic Quadrant with a few people that apparently have a relationship with Gartner, because why isn't my name on there?
Yeah.
Like, they are aware of me. They are aware of Lightspeed. How do I know? They're calling me to buy their shit. So they're researchers and they're analysts.
Yeah.
They're not aware of Lightspeed in that vertical. Sure they are.
By the way, talking about relationships and how
they got shit platforms up there, dudes, talking about they're the most innovative. They ain't shit.
If I was Brad Lee running Lightspeed,
You'd
seriously,
pay Gartner.
Not only would I pay Gartner, but I would focus on building a relationship with whoever the analyst, one or two, is that oversees that category. Because if you are high up in their quadrant, they have so much credibility with those big mega companies.
They funnel you tons of deal.
It would pay for itself.
But there was no guarantee.
No, I understand. Yeah.
I already said I would have done it if that was the guarantee.
There is no guarantee, but we could talk about it offline, and I can kind of share some insights.
Let's talk about it offline.
Yeah.
But anyway, when you said Gartner, I'm like,
there you go.
All right, so what's important to you right now is the question you want to get from somebody.
Well, yeah, I want to find out what project or what goal are they working on, whether it's personal or professional, like right now in the next 60 to 90 days.
Now, see, if people are listening to this, and they are, they're going to think, Larry K. Benet, man, this dude knows how to get freaking comps. You always got the tickets. You always got the freaking ins on the red carpet and the backstage VIP parties that only the top dogs are going to. They're going to be thinking, how do I learn this, Larry? And dude, do you have an answer?
Yes.
What?
So let me just, you were talking about a red carpet or a VIP or whatever. So years ago, Lee Steinberg, sports agent, he was the person behind the movie Jerry Maguire. So I
thought that was David Meltzer.
Well, David ran Lee's company for a short window of time. But anyway, make a long story short, the character.
So David Meltzer, who's like a little influencer out there.
Yeah.
He's running around with all of us influencers.
Right.
Dude, here's what's funny is people are starting to call me an influencer. I'm an influencer. And I'm like, how the hell am I an influencer? Dude, I run a company. How is that an influencer?
Well, people watch you, see what you say.
I know, but listen, I have influence. I understand. I'm influencing people. You're an influencer.
Right.
Everyone's an influencer. Correct. You're an influencer if anyone listens to you or looks up to you or takes advice from you. So if you're a parent, you're a fucking influencer.
But
when people call an influencer,
yeah,
I look at the people like that's how they're known. They're on social media, giving advice and being an influencer of some kind, like fitness influencer or, they're influencers. But I'm not one.
Well, you know what's interesting? Like in business, I believe it doesn't even take a title. For example, whether you're speaking at Gartner, there was one lady at the office. She was one of the most influential people in the office because she could get stuff done all the time, but she didn't have like a big title. You know what? She was kind. She was nice to everybody. Everyone liked her. And so if you needed to go get stuff done, you went to Joe Hooper and she got stuff done. So that's a little bit different than maybe being Gary Vaynerchuk or, a Tony Robbins influencer where you're reaching millions of people. But I do believe everyone can influence.
Yeah, but they're not calling Tony Robbins an influencer. They're calling Tony Robbins Tony Robbins.
Okay.
He's above an influencer category.
Okay. I would agree.
Yeah. And Gary V, he's an influencer.
Okay.
And he, I believe, made a lot of his money because he's an influencer. Now, he made some great key investments. He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
So again, I ain't hating on him, but at the end of the day, he's an influencer.
Sure.
Grant Cardone is an influencer.
Sure.
Who else? Ty Lopez is an influencer. There's influencers out there.
Sure.
I forget them all, but they're out there.
Yeah. You don't.
I'm not an influencer.
Well, I think you are. I think listen.
If I am, I better kick my way into the scene and make it known that I am. Then.
Well, I think you're an entrepreneur.
That's a fact.
And obviously.
So are you.
You have a podcast, and
I'm a podcaster,
and then you have people watching you on social media. So, like I said, I
that
think
makes
influence.
Me an influencer.
There you go,
dude. I believe it boils down to building a brand. So I think I'm becoming a brand, not an influencer.
Well, having a brand is definitely going to be important for sure.
So you have a brand, you aren't a brand?
No, I'm saying in general, having a brand. So for example,
what's my brand?
What is your brand? I think you're someone who tells it like it is. I think you're someone who has been an entrepreneur that's risked, their own hard-earned money to go build a company against all odds. We were talking about this earlier. Some people are one person on stage, another person off stage. In my opinion, because there was a time you and I went to Tony. I introduced you to Tony Hsieh, founder of Zappos, and right before we went in, I think you gave a bunch of money to a homeless guy. We were out there together. So you are exactly how you show up on your podcast, how you show up on the gram, and in the back of your office, how you talk. It's the same person. That's your brand. Amen, brother.
But that's how it should be, right?
I agree. I think.
How many times do you see people not doing that?
I think there's a lot of people that are inauthentic. A ton of people.
And when it comes to building relationships, what's that going to do for you?
Well, I think in order to build relationships, you have to have. It's all about trust, and I think authenticity, vulnerability. If the more vulnerable you are and you're willing to share your wounds and, I've battled depression. I've been bankrupt. I've made it and lost. I mean, the more someone can relate to you, I think it's going to be a true, authentic brand. There's personal brands and there's corporate brands.
Yeah. So my personal brand, if I were to say, use some adjectives that I'm going to write down, what would be, pretend you don't know me. You just see what you see on social media. What words come to mind?
That's a good question. What words?
And again, use authenticity and transparency.
Yeah.
Don't be bullshitting.
Well, I mean, authentic would be one. I think
in your mind, not what do you think the public thinks. What does Larry K? When you're watching those videos, what do you think?
I don't know if like the word gunslinger. I don't know like cowboy or like what's the word? Not afraid to say what he thinks and just being real. I don't know if I'm doing a good enough job expressing your brand. No. I mean,
where does gunslinger come into it?
I don't know. You just you strike me as someone who doesn't give a shit on what other people think.
You ain't lying.
And so you just kind of just share.
I tell the truth.
Yeah.
Is that why it's refreshing?
Yeah, I do think so. Yeah.
Well, that may be true. So and why is it true? Here's why. Because, dude, I think I used to lie through my teeth, dude. Like at 6 years old, we lived in this little shitty house because my dad was a blue collar worker, surrounded by nice houses. The one across the street was an eye doctor. This person owned a grocery store chain. This person owned like a fucking mill or something. Like everybody around us on this hill were well-to-do, if not rich. And we were blue-collar, snot-nosed, dirty-faced kids with our two, blue-collar worker parents. Almost say white trash. But then again, what is white trash? I don't even know what that means. I'd have to define it first before I'd identify with it. But we weren't the, talk of the town. We weren't the highfaluters that threw the parties. We were just like, oh, whose shitty little house is next to ours in our neighborhood? It was weird. Like, you don't see that anymore. But anyway, so I'd lied to all the neighborhood kids because they were rich and we weren't. And so I lied to them, said my dad owned Disneyland, fucking showed them Monopoly cards, convinced them that was our property. We're here because, nobody can know we're super wealthy and shit like that. Sure enough, they found out it was all bullshit. And dude, I was like alienated for 2 or 3 years in my hometown, like the neighborhood. Like everyone knew me as like, ooh, nobody picks him and nobody wants to hang out with him because he's a liar. So I got a real harsh lesson on lying.
Yep.
Fucking young, and it cost me summers, man. And when you're a kid, dude, don't fuck with summer.
It's also a lot easier to remember what you said when you just tell the truth. It's a lot easier.
Well, hey, see, it is a lot easier to tell the truth, isn't it? See, goddamn it, there's a fucking bomb of the fucking whole podcast right there, people. When you're driving around, pull over your fucking truck and listen to that shit right there. Okay, it's easier to tell the truth. Not only is it better, it's easier. Problem is people are so afraid of what other people will think, what other people will say, what might happen by telling the truth, that we just get taught all of our lives to just lie or bend the truth. Like, do I look fat in these jeans? Now, again, I'm not rude. I have kind of withheld information at times.
Yes.
Because it's called polite.
Correct.
But for the most part, if someone said, do I look fat in these jeans, and I like that person, I would say yes. If they did, I'd say, yes, you look really fat. I see your gunt. Okay. People are always like, huh?
I've never heard that word before.
A gunt?
Never heard of it.
That's the front gut of a female.
Oh,
like if it's too big, it looks like they're smuggling a Volkswagen.
Okay.
They don't have a gut. It goes all the way down, like to their vajayjay.
Okay.
So it's just a gunt.
Okay.
and then you have a front butt.
Okay.
Like you see those dudes with a front butt?
Okay.
You never seen those dudes with a front butt?
I'm learning a lot today.
You ever see those dudes that look like they're a burrito with a belt strung around it?
Yep.
And the below is just as fat as above?
Okay.
They've got a front butt.
You're going to probably cause some people to drive off the road that might be listening to this.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to tell
You're
the
telling
truth.
the truth.
I'm telling you what I call them. When I see someone like that, I think, ooh, he's got a front butt. And then if they're female, I go, ooh, she got a gunt. Nobody wants a gunt, do you?
No, that's true.
But listen, that goes down a whole nother path, I always say. Because listen, I'm coming into my own in 2020, Larry. I start to realize, I think maybe I'm shedding my imposter syndrome, let's just say. I'm starting to realize I do know shit. I am correct.
Well, I think also the more success people have in business, the more experience, it's easier for them to believe, some of the ideas that they might be sharing with others because they're seeing it, in real time or having results or whatnot. So
I'm just the type of guy that needs to be convinced. Okay. I don't just take your bullshit I don't, in other words, when people say stuff to me, I'm automatically skeptical. Why? Well, because I'm a realist. That's why I'm the real Brad Lee. I'm real, dude. I'm real and I'm a realist. So like when people say, for example, shit, I can come up with a million of them and we'd be off on another tangent. I want to get back to building relationships,
let's talk
not
about building
destroying them.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, do you believe that if you're not in with the right people, you're going to miss out.
100%. I mean, it's all.
It's like, dude, let me ask you a question. Were you at the Super Bowl party at Grant's house?
Well, I didn't know. Well, I was at the Super Bowl.
Exactly. You weren't there, prick.
I was actually at the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, the NFL pulled 5 tickets.
Doesn't matter where you were. Were you at Grant's house?
No.
Okay, so you don't know who was there. You weren't able to shake any hands. You weren't able to make any deals.
I was at the Super Bowl.
That don't matter. Doesn't matter. Fuck, so was a million other people. Did you meet them all?
No, I know. I mean, I wanted to go to the game.
Yeah, but fuck the game, dude. It's all about the handshakes.
Okay.
The more hands you shake, the more money you make. All kidding aside, dude, I would rather go to a party of a very, 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 very well connected group of people than go to the fucking Super Bowl.
I agree. By the way, just so you know, which is interesting, more often than not, I will go to the Super Bowl parties in the city for the main reason of who attends some of these events.
Yeah, and every year you always call me or text me or say something like you want to go to this. I'm always like, why is he always in every city a Super Bowl's in? You're going there intentionally.
So, for example, let's go back to the Lee Steinberg. Okay, so he's been throwing his own Super Bowl party for 30 plus years. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever it was when we first connected, at some point after the first event that I went to of his, the next event, I asked him and his event planner, would there be any value if I invited any celebrities, high-profile entrepreneurs, or influencers to your event for you? And he said, "Oh, that'd be great." Then the next year, did the same thing. I asked him and his event planner, would there be any value? And so literally last year, and I always want to ask permission. Hey, is there any value in me connecting or inviting other people of influence to your event? He says, anyone that Larry Benet thinks should be at my party can go. Now, keep in mind, it's
well, that's me, dog.
I know, of course. But what I'm saying is, it's because I've had credibility with him over a long period of time.
Yeah, you built trust.
And I invited great people.
Well, that's because you're smart. Because if you invited a bunch of fucking dipshits, you and them wouldn't have been invited another year.
Correct. And the other thing is, Jack Canfield came about 2 years ago. But I've been inviting Jack Canfield, co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul, for 10 years. For 10 years, he didn't take me up on one thing. I invited him to Super Bowls, Emmys, all sorts of stuff, charity events. He was just always busy. And then finally, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to the Super Bowl. Can you, connect? Can I take you up on any of those cool opportunities?" Yeah, let me connect you to a couple things. So yeah, I think
Isn't the Super Bowl going to be here in Vegas one day?
It'll be in Miami, but I'm sure it'll be here in Vegas in the next couple of years with your new arena.
It's a gorgeous arena.
Yeah, you might want to host a nice party. But I do agree with what you said. I would much rather go to a cool party with the right people any day of the week.
Yeah, I was just using were you at Grant's house? I wasn't there either. I was using that as an example as to if you get a room full of players, Grant's definitely a baller, definitely a player. He's a mover and shaker. Anyone can talk shit about, social media and whatever they say about, like there's positive of Grant and then there's negative of Grant. I hear them both.
Yeah.
But even the negative would like to be at his party.
Well, here, let's use it.
You know why? Because, dude, and I don't even know he had a party. I'm just using this as an example. People of influence usually at those parties are around other people of influence, and that's how you make a lot of money in this world. If I'm the guy that gets Gatorades straight from the bottling source, I own the bottling company. I can get you Gatorades for 3 cents each. How if I could get you Gatorades for 3 cents each, tell me, would you not be in the Gatorade business? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, because dude, you'd go to the stores and be like, "How much you paying for your Gatorades?" "Oh, we give them about 40 cents each, sell them for $2. I'll get them to you for 25 cents." Sure. Yeah, I'll take 1 million Gatorades, and all of a sudden, you're successful and you're rich because you know the guy that gets Gatorades cheaper than fucking anybody else on earth. So guess what? You better learn how to build and open a relationship, start a conversation, build that value. You got your little keywords. What were they called?
Well, no, what I was going to say is right before I came, I connected with Stephen Pierce. Him and I founded Saying. Now, what's interesting is years ago, I wasn't a famous influencer or anything like that. He wanted to get one of my clients, who was a self-made billionaire, Bill Bartman, to come to his party. I was not invited to the party. He wanted Bill Bartman. And I'm like, well, who else is at your party? He's like, well, Tim Ferriss and Jay Abraham and Yannick Silver and Harv Eker or whatever.
Bradley.
I don't know if you were at this party. This was years ago. You should have been at the party. But anyway, the point is,
I was working. I was becoming an influencer.
So I reached out to Bill. I'm like, Bill, this would be a good party for you. I go back to Steven. And I'm like, Steven, is anyone running your like a networking portion for you guys? He's like, no. I'm like, I'd like to volunteer to do that. I had never done anything like that before. And I did that. And I'm like, hey, can I invite some other influencers? So I invited Chet Holmes and other influential people to the party to add value to the party. So that's where it always comes down to, I think, if you're going to be adding value in some way, shape, or form. So if Grant's having a party, even if I didn't know Grant, I could call Grant and go, Grant. As a matter of fact, right before I came, there's a cannabis CBD party that Willie Nelson's company's throwing. I texted the people that run the company, and I said, hey, I know Tony Shea of Zappos. I know a few other influential people in Vegas. Let me know if you'd like me to invite them to your event. They could say no. They might say, hey, that'd be great.
Yeah, because we're all trying to get attention, aren't we?
Yeah. So it's always about bringing something of currency to the other person.
So how do you make money?
Whether it's speaking, whether it's coaching, whether it's consulting, whether it's deal making.
I noticed you didn't say mentoring.
Mentoring, coaching.
If someone says they want you to mentor them, what does that mean?
I would help them on, based on whatever. Listen, when you've built a large
but what does mentoring mean to you?
What is mentoring? And my definition of mentoring is, can you take someone that wants to improve on a skill and help them get to that, whatever that next rung of success is, or whatever that goal that they
How much do you pay a mentor?
How much? Really, I guess it could be all across the board.
No, the answer is zero.
Oh, okay.
You don't pay mentors.
Okay.
Your fucking grandpa's a mentor.
Okay.
Your big brother's a mentor. Okay. Your big sister's a mentor. Sometimes other people are mentors, but I believe mentors, they're the ones that put their arm around you and walk along the fence line and give you some good information to mull over and perhaps implement into your life. That's a fucking mentor to me. I've been mentored by this person. I've been mentored by that person. Coach is like, that's who you pay. You pay a coach. Why? Well, because the coach has to hold you accountable. The coach is going to fucking tell you what to do, right? And get you where you want to go. That's a coach. You pay the coach. Mentor, you have lunch with mentors. You go to dinner with mentors. You have long phone calls on the weekend with a mentor.
Yeah, that's true. A coach, you're going to have a much more interactive, more regular, typical.
Yeah, because right now people are asking me a lot. Will you mentor me? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't have time to mentor people. And then they're like, well, how much? And I'm like, you got to realize, I'm not going to charge you to mentor you. I might charge you to coach you. I'm definitely going to charge you to consult you. But I'm trying to figure out if it's a mentor or a consultant or a coach. Like, what are we called? Because, like I said, I'm coming into my own in 2020. I believe I can help companies grow and scale. I can help salespeople become master closers. I can help, I can help relationships. I can help in a lot of areas. Why? Because I know some shit, and I never really acknowledged that before. Like, who knows? Whatever. I've never really thought about it. But, dude, being the hub of all these experts and gurus, because they're all on Lightspeed, any of the good ones anyway. If listening to all of them, reading all the books, doing all the things, dude, seriously, I'm telling you, man, it validates what I know. A lot of times I'm giving what I think to the experts, and they're like, whoa, never thought of it that way. I'm thinking, do I just have a unique perspective or what? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think being at the hub or being in the Seth Godin talks about being the linchpin.
I know, but enough about me. What do you think about me?
I know, that's good. By the way, one of the things that I think is one of the worst things people can do to someone that they don't know, that they're trying to get to be mentored or whatever, I hate when people say, hey, can I come pick your brain? First of all,
that costs money.
It hurts. Second of all, you're asking someone whose probably time is incredibly valuable. So that's why it comes. I would prefer you could go ask for advice or whatever, but I always believe come with value first. It's just a much easier approach.
Dude, you gotta you got to step with pep to the back of the house, look in. All the lights were out. What does that even mean?
What does that mean?
It was a part of a rhyme that just made me think of. Step with pep. It was like I think, easy step with pep to the back of the house, look in. All the lights were out. Something like easily made my way to the window. It was some rap song.
You might want to start rapping. That's good.
Dude, so how do you make money though? Like the Bomb Squad is a growing force of people. Listen to the bombs. Listen.
Coaching, keynote speaking, deal making.
Keynote speaking and deal making. So if I have Bomb Squad listeners that want a keynote speaker, or they want a coach, or what was the third one?
If anyone has a business
or deal making,
if anyone has a business where strategic relationships matter and driving revenue and growth through key strategic relationships, I can help them. If someone has an event, and think about this,
you want to fill it with all the influencers.
Well, I mean, not only that, but at any event, half the people come for great content, and then the other half are coming for networking. Most people couldn't network their way out of a paper bag, and then half the people are shy and introverted.
See, now hold on. They can't network their way out of a wet paper bag. So, network, first of all, define it.
Well, first of all, I don't even like using the word network. So,
I know, but define that because that's a buzzword in the industry. I don't want to break it down.
Yeah. So, let's put it this way.
They can't network.
When someone says they're going to go to a networking event, there's a difference. I'm very strategic. So if I'm going somewhere, there might be a couple of key people that I want to meet. I'm not trying to go just meet every Tom, Dick, and Harry. You and I share something in common.
What about a Harry Dick?
Exactly. Oh my God. You're a little crazy. You throw me off. So going back to the networking versus connecting and being influential and stuff. So I'm going with a purpose.
There's people right now thinking Bradley ruins his own podcast.
He does. He's coming
It's like who
takes
is this
it down
guy?
a rat hole.
Yeah, it takes it down a rat hole.
Holy
makes it unshareable.
Unbelievable. He's gonna have to. Your editors are really gonna have to do a good job.
I don't have editors.
No editors.
None of this gets edited, bro. Okay. It's gonna get uploaded as is. Got to keep it real,
so
dog.
He's gonna keep the gun in there. Okay, but the difference between I think networking and then versus connecting. I'm trying to go and look at and connect with who are some of the more influential people in an industry. Hey, check this out. So 2 months ago, I gave a speech at one of the largest investment funds for the whole CBD cannabis space. I had never met the managing partner until the day of the speech. Now, I got connected to him 2 years ago at Summit, and I knew he had one of the leading investment firms. So this was a gentleman I wanted to stay in touch with and reach out to, and I did this on an ongoing basis. And now, if I wanted to get connected to someone in this industry, chances are pretty good. I only know a handful of key people, but the people I know are super influential in the category.
Yeah, and remember that other people that you already know, like me,
correct,
are pretty connected in that industry without even being connected in that industry.
If they know you and so here's the thing, if they wanted to get to Grant or Tony or any of these other guys, that doesn't mean they're just going to walk up to you and then you're going to go do it. But if there was something of huge value for Grant or any of your other clients, Damon John or others that you do work with, and it was something of huge value to your client, chances are much greater that they'd be able to connect with that individual through you. That's because you're at the hub and spoke. You have all these relationships and with all these experts, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders
in multiple industries.
Correct.
So, I do know people in the CBD business, where I could probably get isolate cheaper than your people.
Probably right.
So me and you could go have lunch, find out. Oh, damn, dude, you could be selling millions of kilos of CBD, and we just take $10 off the top each. Okay. Dude, isn't that crazy? They're out there legally selling kilos of shit.
There's a lot of ways to make money.
That's a big industry, dude.
Yeah, that is true.
Big industry, and a lot of people are going to make a lot of money, and then a lot of people need to be trained. So I'm plugging in with a lot of big wigs, and I'm talking about big wigs. They're big in other industries, dude. A lot of those people with the licenses and all the dispensaries and all the things that are being legalized, a lot of those people were in the right place at the right time because they had the right relationships.
That's true.
They knew the people that were issuing the license, or they paid the right politician or something.
Right.
Like how did all those people get a legal license to deal marijuana?
In the state of Connecticut, I think there's only 3 licenses, And one of the guys that I met was the former lieutenant governor of the state of Connecticut. I am sure his relationships helped.
Your relationships helps no matter what, guaranteed 100%.
Absolutely.
So if you're driving around in your vehicle and you're listening to this podcast right now, stop what you're doing and pay attention. Here's how you build relationships. You walk up and introduce yourself. Hello, whatever your answer is. Hello, how you doing? And then, Larry, what would they say?
So let me just share one thing that I think any listener can do every single day, and if they do this daily, it'll just create a lot of momentum for them. If they created 3 deposits a day of value. So like today, when I leave here, I'm going to introduce you to one of my most influential connections that I believe can help you grow to where you want to go to be a $1 billion company. B, I think he could be great on the platform. So that's something of value. I'm going to make a connection. It could be sending an article. It could be sending this podcast or this social media clip that you and I are talking about, the power of relationships,
Could be
to
sending
someone else. Just say, hey, here's a quick video on the power of relationships. I thought you could benefit from it. So that's a deposit of value. So 3 of those a day.
Could be 2 Super Bowl tickets.
Could be Super Bowl tickets, could be whatever. And then the other thing is show appreciation. Make 3 deposits a day of appreciation. Text someone, right now, who's someone you haven't spoken to in a few months, and just, pull them out of your phone. Go to the letter T. Who's someone you haven't connected, but, you really appreciate them and recognize them and tell them how much they mean to you. Those, things really mean a lot. 3 deposits a day, 3 things of appreciation a day can go a long way. At the end of a month, take the connection challenge. That's 30 times 3 or 5 people. That's almost well over 100 relationships in a given month. You do that in the course of a year. It's a lot of people where you've helped add value and you've shown appreciation to. And it goes back to, it doesn't require a title necessarily. You're going to have a lot of relationship capital. And it's going to, are people going to return your phone calls? Are they going to take? You and I are actually meeting today, and I texted you this morning because there's been some relationship capital, over time. I'm sure it's not going to stop what you're doing for anyone that just reaches out to you.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So.
Well, and you called at the right time.
And that's true.
Because again, I mean, if I had 17 other things going on, I would have had to say, dude, tomorrow or whatever.
That's true.
But more importantly, I would have answered you or not answered you. How many times do we text people and we don't get a response as if they didn't get it? Sometimes, like I'll not respond to a text, and then I realize later, like, those people must just think I'm rude because, like, they know I got the text. They must have known I got the text. Why didn't I respond?
Yeah.
Well, because I didn't want to answer you. Why don't people want to answer people? Like, if you text me, want to go to Super Bowl? Nope. Know anybody that wants these tickets? Nope. Like, I'll respond no matter what. How about, what do you think if people don't respond?
By the way,
to
I just
your
want to
texts?
just say something about you, which was, you may never even shared the story. You were going to come to, I think it was the Grammys or the Emmys about 2 years ago. You had bought the tickets, and then for something happened, you could not go with your wife. So then you were going to give them to Alberto Preciado. And I didn't know who he was other than he had that Driven event. And so I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, you want to come to the Emmys, as a gift from me, Brad. And then at the last minute, he could not come. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with these tickets? These are expensive tickets. And you're like, you know what? Just give them to someone that can really benefit. And literally, it was right after the hurricanes in Houston. And there was a young girl and her grandmother, and that's who ended up going as a result of your generosity. So be generous.
That's right. You don't have to be rich to be generous, kids.
That's right. You could be generous. You could be kind. It doesn't cost you anything. You can give someone a smile. You can pay attention to someone. You can listen to someone. Those are all things that don't cost anything.
I would agree with that. So folks, if you guys want to follow Larry, go to @LarryKBenet.
And if they want, they can just go to LarryBenet, BENET.com/ebook, and we'll send them a free book for them.
Book, what's it teach them?
How to connect with anyone, how to add value to anyone, how to get better results, leveraging
Dude, we're going to have to
relationships.
bring you on the relationships that pay
Let's do
site.
that. Let's do it.
Maybe I should just sell it to you and give it to you now. Like, introduce you to Keith Yackey. You guys take it over. Just give me my piece for my niece.
Let's do that.
You have one of these?
As a matter of fact, I do, my friend.
Now let me ask you a question. What would you recommend for anyone who networks a lot.
This is definitely,
Who taught you that?
well, it is true.
Yeah, but who taught you that?
Well, you did.
Yes,
Well, but I've been using this for a long time.
That's all right.
It's some Listerine where you can just. But the thing is, you don't want to make. You only have one chance to make a good first impression.
How many times have you talked to someone and their breath stunk?
That's a very awkward situation.
But how many times?
Who knows? It's
hundreds.
I'm sure over time. Yeah.
Have you ever talked to anybody with rank breath?
Yeah. It's not a pleasant experience.
Right. So what do these cost?
$3.
$3 investment would save any awkwardness ever. Now, if you're going to be in this networking game, if you're going to go build relationships, I would suggest the two things you heard from me is, number one, build a relationship with yourself first. Number two, buy yourself a little Listerine strip or some spray and make sure that anytime any human being is coming your direction to talk to you, you squirt it in your mouth. Puff, puff, squirt, squirt, and then proceed to say whatever it is you were trying to say. Never talk to a human being without a couple of puffs.
You should get them as a sponsor because you talk about it a lot.
Everybody keeps saying that, but they don't want me as a sponsor because I'm a fucking build my own mouth spray.
Well, they should.
It's called. You know what it's called?
You should make them a sponsor of your Dropping Bombs podcast because you talk about it a lot. Be good business for them.
I know, I'll be their competitor soon because I'm gonna make laced.
Okay.
Where this breath spray that's laced with like B12 and nootropics and CBD. And by the way, the CBD thing's getting huge. Like I was going to go to Belle Biv DeVoe and say, you guys should get your own. And it would be BBD, CBD.
There you go.
Right.
By the way, in terms of adding value, you're real good on the spot on sharing an idea with a thought leader, an entrepreneur. Here's a way to do a branding. I think one of the greatest ways of adding value is sharing ideas that will be of value to someone else. So it could be someone's got a business card that's not really that good. And you can say, hey, have you ever thought about on the back of your business card putting a free report or doing something that's a little different to engage? And that's just, and again, an idea doesn't cost any money either. Sharing a book, sharing a great podcast, being a resource. Again, these are things that don't cost anything, but being memorable helps.
Definitely. And not having stinky breath.
That's true.
You don't want stink breath.
That's right.
So let's get back to the topic I like most, me.
Okay, let's talk about you.
Yeah.
Enough about me. Let's talk about you.
Let's talk about me for a moment.
Let's do that.
I want to know because I'm trying to figure out what is my brand. So I'm asking people, like you already said gunslinger, but I'm trying to figure out what is my brand? Who am I, dude? Some people I've asked people honest opinions. Some people it looks like you're kind of, trying to be Grant. And I'm like, well, that's because you've seen Grant before you saw me. But believe it or not, Grant acts more like me than I act like him. And that's a fucking fact. But who am I? Am I a sales guru? Am I a business expansion guy? Am I a training expert? Because again, I know for a fact I'm a training expert. I can train people. I can develop people better than anybody if people will listen to my expertise, because again, I can't force you to do it. I can just tell you what to do. So I'm a training expert, 100%. What else am I? I can help people with their relationships. I can help people turn into be badass salespeople. I can teach people how to build relationships. I can teach people how to save their relationships. Why? Because, dude, it's not rocket science, man. It's all, based in ethics and integrity and, honesty and, consideration and things of this nature. There's no mystery to any of it. That's what's crazy, and that's what people don't understand. Everybody acts like there's this big secret formula bullshit, and it's not. Get up, be a good person. Go out and do the right thing. Help people out and be of value, right? Everything we just talked about. It's so easy. Why isn't everyone doing it? Why are most people failing and they're skeptical and they're not doing these things? Why do you think?
Why? Well, I would say it could be a combination. Either A, they don't have belief in themselves. It could be they don't have belief.
Relationship with themselves.
Could be they don't have belief in what they can bring to someone else.
They don't value themselves.
Right. By the way, I think another dropping a bomb or a phrase that pays, let's put it that way, is no matter how skeptical another human being is that you might meet, if you're genuine and you're authentic and you say, hey, how can I help you? Hey, Brad, I know I'm just meeting you for the first time. I know you've got this training company. I know you got all these amazing rock star entrepreneurs and you got this podcast, but what are you working on? And just in case I or someone in my network can be a resource to you, how can I help? And if you're truly authentic in that, you might not be able to help Brad today. It might be 6 months from today. It might be a month from today. It might be today you could do something to help Brad. I don't know. But I think it comes down to mentally or just not even being organized. Like, take a phone number. Most people put information in the phone. They meet someone. They have contact information, but that they only have a phone number and and their name. You need a lot more information in terms of how are you going to add value to somebody. The more information you have about someone, the easier it is. I met Richard Branson. I met him for 30 seconds and not in an ideal way. He was on a dance floor with 500 other people with the band playing, and he was flanked by 2 security people. This is the worst time to have a conversation with one of the wealthiest, but he's like my most famous entrepreneur ever. I took my shot, but before taking the shot to talk to him, I'd spent hours researching Richard Branson. And at that moment in time when I was meeting him, he was going to give away several $1 billion of his company's profits towards the environment. And at that time, I basically said, Mr. Branson, honored to meet you. I'd like to invite you to a closed-door meeting where other entrepreneurs just like you, off limits to the media, but your peers, your colleagues will be there talking about best practices towards the environment. Someone from Virgin should be there. He gave me an email. I had no idea it was his private email. I was stunned. I almost fell off my chair when I found out. But it was something that he found of value.
You still have it?
Yeah, I communicate with him from time to time, yeah.
Shoot him an email and say, dude, have you heard this motherfucker Brad Lee? Dude,
That's
you've
right.
got to watch or listen to Dropping Bombs.
Absolutely.
Because if you can't do that, dude, then you're not leveraging that relationship.
So I'll give you an example. Like, he's got a new cruise line coming out, right?
I heard about that. That's going to be freaking.
But when
and
I'm
hotels.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is when he launches something or he's doing something with Virgin Galactic or something, or maybe they're trying to reach more entrepreneurs, if I'm you, I'm going to reach out to his publicist or whoever and say, hey, I reach a lot of entrepreneurs. I'd like to, is there a way to get a few minutes to, interview or whatever? But now you're doing it on around something that I call trigger events.
Well, if you can get Richard on my podcast, that'd be a value.
That'll be a value for you, yeah. But what I'm saying is when you use trigger events are either personal or business related. Personal is a birthday, an anniversary, a divorce, a graduation. These are all great times to reach out to someone. But on a business thing, so when Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic blew up, I reached out to him saying, hey, I want to express my condolences for you, the family members, that lost their lives. If something happens in real time, like he just had a tennis tournament on his island and I had several of my friends there, for me, that might be a timely situation to reach out to him and mention, or if he's got a book that just came out. And that's when you want to use these trigger events to reach out to busy, influential people to stay in touch and then add value.
Now, speaking of books, I got my book coming
Let's talk about that book.
It's called The Hard Way.
By the way, we've been talking about value and influence the whole time. I think the single best way is when an influential person, it could be a famous celebrity, it doesn't even matter. If you can help them move the book, it is crazy that you can either get access, and even you don't have to ask for permission. You could just go do it. You can mention it on Twitter, your social media. The more times you comment, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, if you go to his Instagram, doesn't have a huge amount of followers. He's the CEO of Goldman Sachs, the most influential investment bank in the world. He's also a DJ. Guarantee if you got that guy a DJ gig, you're going to have probably a relationship with one of the most influential guys in all of Wall Street. And same thing, when someone's has a new book come out, great opportunity for you to help them with something they care about. When's that book coming out, Brad?
February.
I'd like to help you, support you on that.
Well, dude, all I did is put up a page that says, hey, if you want to pre-order this book, signed, limited edition.
What's the book webpage?
You just go to bradlee.com.
Okay.
Dude, everything's going to be bradlee.com. L-E-A. People say, is that Leah? I say, I don't know. Do you drink Tia?
I like that.
At the end of the day, it's bradlee.com. 2020, it's all about the money. Okay? And it's and where do you find it? bradley.com.
I like it.
Dude, I'm going to figure out who I am and what's my message.
Have you asked
what's my brand, and I'm going to exploit the shit out of it. You know why? Because dude, I realize I can help a lot of people. I can help a lot of people lose weight, get in shape. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
I can help people win. I can help people make more money, sell more deals, close more homes, sell more furniture, sell more shoes, sell more jewelry, have a better relationship, better family, better kids. I can help people improve. I just don't know what that's called.
Have you asked people that watch you what they think of who you are?
Yeah, and they all say similar shit to what you're saying, which is funny too, because they, it's like Rat Pack, Old Vegas Cool, Cool's in there all the time, Real's in there all the time, Gunslinger. Believe it or not, I've heard Gunslinger.
Well, let's put it this way.
It's like, Wild West, shoot from the hip, wild. And I'm not
You're
wild
a little
at
bit
all.
against the grain. You're just not
You know what I am?
What's that?
Real.
Yeah, you are real. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But
By the way,
but at the end of the day, that's it, just real.
when you've built a great brand, if you look at Gary Vee, for example, he started selling wine, and then he became an influencer, had big Twitter following. Then he started teaching big corporations, which he wasn't selling to big corporations at the time. So that's where his Vayner media company gained a foothold over the last several years. But now he's, got sneakers. So once you have that brand, like in you're great at sales. You're great at teaching people.
But dude, Gary Vee's a level above, a million levels above me. He's a bunch of levels above most of those wannabe influencers too. Because let me tell you something. When you got your own shoe, okay, you're a cool motherfucker.
Yeah, what I was saying though is once you've built the brand and people trust the brand, then all I was saying is he sells wine. He's got his social media services. He just started a sports agency the last couple of years. What I'm saying is you're extending out the brand once people trust you.
Yeah, so what's my brand? Because don't you think there has to be connection between the products that you offer and the brand that you have? Like for example, I can't be a big fat guy and preach my protein drink, right? I have to be a buff guy if I believe in protein. Now, you don't have to be, but you should be.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm sure there's fat people that own, fitness products, but at the end of the day, I'm talking about who is Bradley and what can I help? I think I can help everything. What's that called? A fucking oracle? Am I an oracle? Am I a genius? What am I? Am I the answer man? Do I have Brad? It's like Brad and answers mixed together. It's just Bransers.
I know, but I would say continue being authentically yourself.
Maybe I just have Brad answers.
You could. But I do think, I've been watching some of your Instagrams where, it's you talking on camera. Normally you're in your office talking to someone and they're clipping some of those comments. And there's just a lot of value in your day-to-day on how you, approach things. So I'd say keep up the good work.
Well, thanks. But again, that's just social media. I want to monetize. I want to say, look, you want me to coach you? $10,000 for the next, X amount of time. I'll dig through your business, your relationship. I'll get you straightened out. We'll get you in fit. You can fly to Vegas. I'll fucking get you a different style. I'll teach you confidence, get you walking tall. Hey, and it might mean get divorced. Why? Well, because dude, if you pay me to coach you, and you have a toxic relationship, we're gonna fix it one way or the other. Because again, dude, if you want to be successful, you can't have toxic relationships. And it's just like, well, I mean, I shouldn't say you can't because there's always possibilities, but it's not normal. So again, if you come into me, let's say you're making $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, and you're like, how do I get it to 10 million and just like really bust through this plateau? And you pay me to do it, dude, I'm going to be looking at your relationships. I'm going to be looking about who you are as a person. Are you a piece of shit? Do you fuck people? Are you a liar? Are you looking to scam? Do you not call people back when you say? Do you not do the shit you say? You have no integrity. You have no ethics.
Keep your word.
Yeah, like, are you a piece of shit, really? Because, dude, some people can't win because they're a piece of shit.
Yeah, you got to keep your commitments and you got to keep your word. A lot of people don't.
No shit, which is why a lot of people don't win. So, again, someone pays me. You know what they're paying me for? They're paying me to fucking hold them accountable. Like, dude, listen, explain to me, who do you hang out with? Tell me about your week. Who's that guy? Oh, that guy's this. I grew up with him. And, what's he say? What type of things does he say? What's he doing? Yeah, fucking get rid of that clown. What?
You got to have supportive relationships.
What? I'm not getting rid of my high school friends. Oh, well, then I guess you don't want to win. So either keep paying me and not, because again, I don't care if you do what I tell you. I'm just going to tell you what to do. Because it's not rocket science, dude. Just sometimes it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
See, the thing is sometimes it is lonely at the top because you have to drop the people that you currently hang with to fucking reach the next level. And then guess what? The next level, you start hanging with people at that level. And then when you dump those fucking friends, you go to another level and you go to another level. And pretty soon you're hanging around all these billionaires. Well, not if you're not a fucking billionaire.
So I have a question. Ever since I've known you, you've always had a great deal of confidence.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lightspeed is more well known today than say 10 years ago.
Sure.
So what gave you the confidence? Whether I don't know who was your first big breakthrough client?
Me.
Okay, and then after you, who would have it been? That was someone that was paying
else.
You. But my question is, so where did you get the confidence to go? Reach out, whether it was a Tony Robbins or
it wasn't. I had the confidence in the product. I had the confidence that it was just a better way to do it, and I had the confidence in myself. And again, whether it's naive or confidence, could be naivete, but I just knew I had a better way of doing things, man. And I proved it right, and I weathered the storm. Most people would have quit or given up.
So what kept you going during? Because this couldn't have been all smooth sailing along the way.
It's weird, but yeah, it has been. And a lot of times people will look back and say, no, it hasn't. What about this? What about this? What about this? You said you were broke. I understand, but it's been pretty smooth.
Okay.
Like, in other words, I had to hide my car so it didn't get repoed. Right? Is that rough? Not to me. All I did is park my car 4 blocks away. That ain't rough. Like fucking, oh, boo-hoo. You're trying to avoid the tow truck, man. Guess what? You have to walk 4 blocks and hide your car.
I'm surprised the tow truck guy couldn't figure out 4 blocks away, but that's.
Well, this was a long time ago, dude. They weren't, there was no GPS and bullshit like that. Like, fuck, you drive by the house to hook a car. Car ain't there. You fucking, I don't know. I've never been a tow truck driver. Maybe they should have been smart enough to circle the neighborhood. But I thought I was being clever, and they never found it. So Guess what? It worked, and I always paid it. So again, I was behind. I just couldn't afford. I couldn't afford to not have a car. Like, in other words, if I would have lost my car, there probably would have been a hardship story. But guess what? I ain't fucking getting rid of my car, dog. So I'll put it in the garage 7 houses down, so you can't see it, you can't find it. You're not getting this, motherfucker. I was aware. Okay, so that's what I mean by it wasn't really rough, because I kept it all together pretty smooth comparatively to what it could have been. However, you know why I did? Because I'm resourceful, because I'm fucking able to convince people. I sold everybody. Yeah, I sold the people that built the platform first, because guess what? They wanted $200,000. I didn't have $200,000. I closed them on doing it. Then I closed them on shutting down their company and letting me give them a piece of mine. And we all become one. I absorbed their company.
Nice. And the question I had for you is, now you've built a fairly influential network.
Yes.
As it grows, what's the number 1 or 2 things that you do to add value to stay in touch with busy, influential people?
I don't do as much as I should, and it's because I'm so busy. But 2020 is all about the money. And if you're interested in making some, then you'll be in touch. And I will be too. So if you're listening to this, 2020, if I ain't reaching out to you, you better be reaching out to me. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people I know listen to this. So if you're listening, you better be reaching out. Right now, if you don't know me, you should. Reach out. Hit me in the DMs. Go to the Instagram. Check out bradlee.com. See what I got going on. Plug into the network, because trust me when I tell you, 2020 is all about the money, Larry.
Nice. And then what's on your bucket list?
Dude, I haven't written a bucket list yet. I mean, I have a few things when I say, hey, that's on my bucket list. Like, I've always wanted to take my small children, all my children actually, but definitely I want to get pictures of my 2 little girls that are very young, 4 and 6, around icons of the world, like, the pyramids of Giza, the Great China Wall, the Eiffel Tower, the frickin', cliffs of what's it called? The cliffs of in Ireland. There's a cliff of something. Anyway, all the icons and the seventh wonders of the world around the world. I just want pictures of them. Like, can you imagine if you were an adult now, you're looking at pictures of you. How valuable would this be to you? A picture of you playing with a fire truck on the steps with the Eiffel Tower blurry in the background. You were just in Paris for the summer, and you were just an innocent 5-year-old playing with a fire truck on the steps. What would that picture be worth for you?
That'd be cool.
How much would it be worth?
Are you adopting grown kids or?
No, but doesn't that sound like cool? So I want my kids to have those pictures when they get older.
Okay, that's cool.
So like that's one of the things that you asked, like what's cool? I think that's cool. And then, but that's just traveling. Yeah. And in 3 to 5 years, I'm hoping to be in a position that I've helped enough people to where now I can travel and help people from my laptop, which is really code for I'm a billionaire, because I believe I need.
You don't need to be a billionaire to do that, but I hear your point.
No, I can do that now, but I want to hit a certain level to ring the bell, so to speak, and I have until I'm 55. If at 55 years old I am not a billionaire, I will stop where I'm at and then look around and reassess. Because you're right, I don't need any of this. I don't need to do the podcast. I don't need to do social media. I don't need to give advice. I don't need to write books. I don't need to create courses. I don't need to have events. I don't need to make introductions. I'm trying to do it so other people have an easier time than I did. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Little things that we say on this podcast is going to help. You've helped somebody make an introduction and a relationship that will probably change their life. Most people are one relationship away from a whole new day.
By the way, what Brad had just shared, about his girls and what he wants, and as you listen to him on the podcast and through his social media, my question is, are you getting smarter or more intelligent? Meaning, like, do they put information into their smartphone or their CRM about the individual, so the next time they do reach out or have a conversation, hopefully it's something relevant to you, either for the business or for personal. So,
Larry, appreciate you swinging through.
I appreciate you having me.
Next time you're in Vegas, swing back through. If you have any Super Bowl tickets, hook me up.
Sounds like a plan.
And folks, if you guys want to follow Larry, go to LarryBenet.com or at Larry K. Benet on social media. He's dropping tips like this left and right. Or go to his thing, Larry
They
Benet.
go LarryBenet.com/ebook, and we'll just send them the book for free.
And you get a bookie book.
There you do.
Folks, go out and share and rate this podcast. It'll help me stay on the top of the list. And until then, as always, keep it real.